Welcome to the Popish Plot. I'm Nate.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Mike.
And today we are here to talk about Clement, specifically First Clement and his first letter. I have heard mention of something that I would like to clarify here. Mm-hmm. A phoenix?
Yeah.
The Phoenix.
Yeah. Oh, yes, there's only the one.
Yes. I even put it on my notes. Do you want to read chapter 25 on the Phoenix?
I'm not going to read it in its entirety, but I would just say, there is a certain bird which is called a phoenix. There's only one of its kind, and it lives 500 years. And when the time of its dissolution draws near, that it must die, it builds itself a nest of frankincense and myrrh and other spices, into which, when the time is fulfilled, it enters and dies. But as the flesh decays, a certain kind of worm is produced, which, being nourished by the juices of the dead bird, brings forth feathers. Real bird. One of them lives 500 years.
Mm-hmm. Although, I do like that even him being Roman from the Roman era is like, in the far-off distant lands of Arabia. I'm like, that's really not as far for you.
Oh, it's pretty far.
I mean, yes, you can travel easily, but still.
It's pretty far.
But in all fairness,
this is not like describing the, sub-Saharan elephant and being like, that doesn't seem like a real creature to me.
while I would have arguments with suggesting that it is a real creature, I could totally see the use of a metaphorical phoenix in Christian teaching, as it very much, has Christian theming in its whole mythology. It dies and then it rises again.
100% agree.
Yes, the problem is he in no way implies that this is an analogy, besides the fact that this real bird really resembles, the resurrection.
It really seems to be a specific claim about the bird. Now, it should be noted, if the church, in her wisdom, had included First Clement in the sacred scriptures, then yes, I would totally accept that there was a phoenix, which died and was reborn every 500 years.
But they didn't, so we're gonna. We're gonna take a long, hard look at that one.
I assumed that if it was in scripture, it would be like, the young Earth creationists who are trying to figure out a way that there is this one phoenix and we can never... It would be like the Bigfoot of fundamentalism. So surely a phoenix. We just can't see it. It's invisible.
It would be even better at the Bigfoot at hide and seek.
I mean, there's many Bigfoots. There's only one phoenix. It's got to have a, easier time hiding.
It doesn't need a breeding population, so it's easier to hide.
It just dies and reaccretes out of a worm that eats its own dead body.
See, that to me is the weirdest part. You hear about the phoenix, a bird, born out of the own ashes. What's the worm about?
Yeah, most of the ones, it just starts out as a baby chick again.
So it almost seems like a butterfly. It starts off as a little wormy caterpillar, and then it somehow becomes the bird. But that's not how birds work. Feathers. Clement's natural history. It's wild, man.
He was a pope, not a science teacher.
That's fair. Totally fair. Plus, at the time... Yeah.
And it doesn't say that he saw it. It simply is,
he's recounting the story of this thing that he believes is real.
I've heard done tell. So, that really appears to be the best explanation. That, there's just some stuff that... so much of it is non-original, and then the original stuff is wild. But just... It still remains to me an unsatisfactory question because we have the presumed authorship by a companion of apostles. Mm-hmm. We have the fact that it was read liturgically. But the church in her wisdom never included this on the lists when the Bible was being canonized. So
it was
the Western Church.
Well, it was written by a companion of the apostles.
Again, I don't think it's even in the
Clement is a different book.
It was it was written by a companion of the apostles. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It was more written. How to put it? It was his writing, right? In most of the cases where you see writings of the companions of the apostles, it is they were writing the gospel down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mark and Luke.
Mm-hmm. Most of the other things were all written by people who, as best as we can tell, had a direct interaction with Christ himself. Yeah. There's the bit about Hebrews where we're not entirely certain who wrote it, but
if it was Paul, absolutely. If Barnabas, less so.
You're right.
And then Paul kind of gets a kind of like an asterisk to his, he
this
has that conversion experience.
He only meant the resurrected Lord. So
this wasn't him writing something on behalf of them.
Yeah.
This was him writing something on behalf of himself.
Yeah. Yes. Now, on to that.
It was the first. It was the second Pope's first papal encyclical, as far as we can tell.
To which point, First Clement does stand as a testament to how important and uniquely important the See of Rome was, even at this very, very early stage of the Church. Mm-hmm. Because, the letter purports that the Church of Rome tells you, the Church in Corinth, how you may or may not behave.
Yep.
Yeah, and essentially, knock it off and accept your pastors.
Yes. Yes, and it's one of those things where even if it was at the earlier date... Mm-hmm. It's not like you start from being just nobody to they declare you Pope. Even in the early days, usually most of the people, sure, he wasn't the Pope at the earliest date given. However, maybe he was another, person who worked with whoever was Pope at the time that I did not bother to do the math to figure out exactly when Peter died.
Or, let's say he was the fourth Pope instead of the second. Didn't become Pope until after the earliest days of writing. He'd still be a high-up official in the Church of Rome.
Yeah.
So someone who carried a good deal of authority. So, yeah, First Clement.
And given how, Peter didn't write things, I could totally be like, Clement, you can write. Tell the Corinthians to knock it off.
Yeah, he doesn't even have the big letters at the end like Paul.
I wrote this part myself.
Peter.
And then he's like, I am at a disadvantage. I've only had this name since I was in my mid-40s.
In fairness, I'm mostly illiterate myself, so I'm trusting that they're doing a good job of writing. Paul had the equivalent of a graduate education in the time.
He writes his name. He's Simon. Wait, no, we're still getting used to that.
Nope, Simon, also called Peter. Totally fine. That's my name. So, the first letter of Clement. Comment below with your thoughts. Yay or nay? Should it be in the Bible? Should it not be in the Bible? Have you read it? What do you think of the Phoenix?
Especially the Phoenix. I want most of the discussions to be on the Phoenix.
Has our review of it encouraged you to read it?
The Phoenix is chapter 25 and then a little bit of 26. If you just want to skip ahead and miss all the parts about here's the history of Abram and David.
And again, many, many chapters, but many of them very short. So twice as long as Hebrews, but compared to like a book, not very long.
I was going to put it on my reading list of books I've read. I could not find it in any variations of its many names. I'm like, just Clement. Yes, I looked up that. I looked up Clement to the Corinthians. I looked up letter to the Corinthians. I looked up just the word Clement, and it was giving me things written by people named Clement.
Yes.
I'm like, I want to put this in
I'm trying to register this. Thank you, Goodreads. Give this episode a like, subscribe to our channel, ring the church bell to be notified next time we review a book that's not in the Bible.
And until next time, remember to live your faith.
Love your faith.
And
share that love.